Donald Trump is doing everything he can to destroy rule of law in this country. And that's why we are so desperate to talk about literally anything else, even if that's the prostate of the former president.
In this video, Piers Morgan of Piers Morgan Uncensored, Michael Knowles, and Dave Rubin team up against Destiny and Wajahat Ali, and it's basically a mess. But I think it could be summed up by what Destiny said there in that first clip. Why don't we watch this together? I'll have some thoughts, and then I want to know what you think in the comments.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't followed the news recently, and I lose track of this sometimes. Right now, who's the president? Is it Trump or is it Biden? Because every single day I turn the news on, Trump is talking about Biden, the conservatives are talking about Biden, everybody is talking about Biden. It feels like that is the only thing that these people can ever talk about, because they're trying to take away attention from Trump's disastrous econ policy,
there was a major
from the utter failures
Biden,
that he's
like
running into over and over and over again with all of the courts, with the insane arguments that they're putting in front of the Supreme Court, trying to get rid of things like birthright citizenship. But for some reason, we're talking about Biden again. Also, it's no surprise that conservatives are once again, there is no scandal. There is no evidence of any scandal whatsoever. It's just more conservatives demonstrating again that they know nothing about medicine.
There's no evidence of a scandal.
No, you don't need to explain anything while I'm giving my answer to Pierre's question. You say the man wasn't competent to be president. I'm curious, can you show me a single time when Joe Biden sat down and had EOs brought to him and explained to him that he'd never seen before, like we see Trump sign on an almost daily basis? One example of that.
Well, they didn't bring them to Joe Biden because an auto
Exactly. You have no examples of that. No, you have no examples of that. Donald Trump is worse. Donald Trump is worse. That's great, but you can see videos of Biden explaining what's in the Hold on, let me finish my answer. For all of these people that are so concerned about Biden's health, everybody got so offended when Elon Musk was asked about his ketamine abuse. So they said we had no right into the minds, the drug use, or the medical records of people that might be involved in major parts of the government, that he was involved in dismantling huge parts of the government. He was the president's right-hand man. Just right there, we just heard another pivot, another abdication of responsibility. The reality is conservatives know nothing about medicine. All of you guys on here are saying it's totally common to test for prostate cancer past 50. It's not. Past 70, it's not recommended. Believe it or not, and I know in the movies and in the TV shows, it seems like you can test for every single thing at every point in time. You can't test for every single thing at every point in time. You don't do that because you get a lot of false positives.
He's the president of the
How long
United
does that
States.
PSA test take you? When you do that PSA test annually,
It doesn't
Piers,
matter.
how long does
Over
that
the
take
age
you?
of
Is that a big
over the
problem
age
for the
of
doctor?
Takes 3 minutes.
Over the age of 70, you do not test men for prostate cancer. It's just not recommended. You can't test for every
It is if you're the president of the United States and you've already had a test in 2014.
From ordinary human conditions? No, of course not. You can't test for every single disease at every single point of your life. Unfortunately, you just can't do that.
Okay, Michael, let me bring you back in here. I think, look, it's the conversation's been very revealing. Wajahat on massive distraction technique, and Destiny basically saying old people shouldn't have tests that might save their lives.
Just to be clear, go to Google,
arguments.
Look up, when do you test for prostate cancer? You don't test after. You can Google it right now. Put it on the program. Everybody can type it in the program.
Are you arguing that they shouldn't have tested Joe Biden, who now has metastatic cancer in his bones? Are you arguing they shouldn't have tested him?
It's a blood test. I bet the president of the United States probably has a weekly blood test. Probably. I'm guessing.
What do you think a blood test is? Do you think you can test for every single possible thing in your blood?
It's so easy to test for PSA. Your PSA literally is one thing.
For it?
It's easy. Anyway, look, I want to move on from this to James Comey talking of wild conspiracy theories. Because call me bonkers, Michael Knowles. I don't mind what you call me. But the idea that a man who was the director of the FBI, the top lawman in America, was wandering along a beach and saw some seashells with the numbers 8647. And he had absolutely no idea before putting it on his Instagram that this might be interpreted as meaning a desire to kill President Trump. Here's his explanation on MSNBC.
Was there anything in the back of your mind that said, maybe I just shouldn't post this?
Yeah, no, literally nothing, because it seemed entirely innocent and clever to me. I have never, and actually still don't associate 86 with violence, but because I heard that some folks were, whether they do that reasonably or not, I don't want any part of it, and so that's why I took it down from my Instagram.
This is horseshit, Michael. He's just lying. He's lying.
Look, I want to be as fair and charitable as I can. James Comey is a huge weirdo with artistic pretensions. Do you remember when the Robert Mueller investigation came out? James Comey took this bizarre photo of himself in the woods looking up at the sky. So I don't want to understate the chance that he's just a weirdo. However, you have to take the context here in. If he says, well, 86, to get rid of somebody, that doesn't imply violence. Okay, maybe he's just kind of ignorant and obtuse, but within the context of President Trump, who was nearly murdered twice, one time with a bullet hitting his ear, coming within a 20th of an inch of blowing his brains out on stage. When you have the entire Democratic Party, all the way up to Joe Biden, who predicated his presidential campaign on the notion that Donald Trump posed an existential threat to the country.
Okay, this guy is so infuriating. They said he posed an existential threat to the country because he does. And Piers Morgan and Michael Knowles and Dave Rubin and all of these, Tim Pools, all of these psychopaths insist that's like, oh, this was the Democrats ginning up this baloney and they incited. Look at what Trump's doing. They're Kash Patel. They're dismantling our democracy, folks. It's happening in real time, faster than we can keep up. And it's these clowns' job to try and insane wash it and sort of, flippity flop and say, well, no, it's actually the Democrats that are the violent party. It's the Democrats that are advocating for the destruction of our country. It's the Democrats who are having, pizza joints, which are a cover for child pedophilia rings, and they're actually ancient demon spirits that drink the life essence. I mean, it's insane. It's insane that they come on here with a straight face and spew this stuff.
That is to say, justifies his assassination. Within that context, Comey had to know. Either Comey is the dumbest person on earth, or he knew what he was doing. And I want to be charitable. I think he kind of knew.
I don't want to be charitable. Sorry, Wajahat. This is bullshit. And you know it is, don't you? Come on, just admit it.
So, if MAGA does believe that James Comey was intentional in posting that an 86 means kill, then like I said in your last answer, I want everything to be fair and balanced. I'm trying to bring people together. Like you said in the last one, release every single information about Joe Biden's public health.
Do you believe James Comey when he says... Do you believe him when he Instagrammed the picture of 8647 for the former FBI director? I had no idea what that meant.
You're going to like my answer. You're going to like my answer. I'm fair and balanced here. If you truly believe, and if my co-panelists here, my MAGA co-panelists believe that James Comey intended that 86 meant to kill Joe Biden and you want to investigate him, I say fine. But then you also have to investigate Jack Posobiec. Oh, the MAGA dude who literally sold merchandise while Joe Biden was president.
I'm not talking about him, Wajahat. Stop the distraction.
Wait a second.
Focus on the stories.
Stop being a hypocrite. If you think 86 means to kill, then you have to prosecute Jack Posobiec, who was making money off of mercendise that's at 86.46 while Joe Biden was president. Then you have to also investigate Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, let me finish. Matt Gaetz said 86, not Democrats. Matt Gaetz said 86 Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, right? So, and Kevin Johnson. So, maybe if you want to prosecute James Comey, I'm being fair. If you want to prosecute James Comey, you got to prosecute Jack Posobiec.
But once again, Wajahat, you're not answering my simple question. Do you believe Comey or not? Yes or no?
I do not believe that James Comey and the overwhelming majority of people who liked that thought that it meant killing Donald Trump. The person who tried to kill Donald Trump was a Republican, a Trump supporter, a gun nut. It means 86. If anyone's worked in restaurants or is a waiter, 86 means to cancel an order. So if you believe 86 means to kill, then you got to prosecute Jack Posobiec and Matt Gaetz.
The reason that's not an apt comparison is because we're not saying in all contexts 86 always means you want to murder somebody.
Yeah,
we're saying that in the context of Donald Trump,
you guys are getting desperate.
Literally murdered twice.
You guys are getting desperate. Donald Trump is underwater, Michael and David.
In that case,
you guys are getting really desperate.
You guys keep bringing up that they tried to kill Donald Trump twice. You know what else happened twice? He got impeached twice as well. So maybe 86 could be in the third impeachment attempt.
All right, Dave Rubin.
All right. Well, first off, I'm really amazed by Wajahat's authenticity and honesty. It's really quite remarkable, and I'm sure nobody can see through it.
Russia didn't pay me. Just me.
The guy should have a pin over here. I told the truth. It's really incredible. The other thing about 86, and I'm impressed. I doubt you ever worked in a restaurant. I did, and yes, it's true. If they don't have the porterhouse anymore, you 86 the porterhouse. That means you don't have it anymore. So the waiters know when they're going out there. But the other thing that the 86 came from was the 86 86th floor on the Empire State Building. And do you know what the 86th floor on the Empire State Building is? That's the observation floor. And that's where the mafia in the old days used to take guys that owed them some money and toss them off the roof of the Empire State Building. That is a fact. You can also check that on Grok or ChatGPT or whatever your favorite search engine is. Now, as to whether he meant literally when he was just wandering the beach and he magically sees these numbers and thought it was artistic and whatever else, as to whether he actually was trying, as the former FBI director, to instigate someone to kill Donald Trump, I can only leave that up to what is going on in his heart and in his soul. I suspect that's not the truth. I also am not somebody that wants to jail everybody for a bad joke or a stupid picture or anything else. So whether it was any of those people that you just mentioned that had done that previously, I'm not for jailing the guy for it, but I think we can call a spade and know that if the shoe was on the other foot, these people would be going absolutely crazy. Yeah. So I think this one is pretty clear.
No question. Okay,
maybe
Destiny.
They should wear a MAGA hat. Maybe wear a MAGA hat and try to 86 the election and try to take out Mike Pence, like the violent insurrectionist that Donald Trump pardoned and now has given $5 million.
I tell you what,
I admire that.
If there was an Oscars ceremony for playing whataboutery, you, my friend, are the Daniel Day-Lewis.
Again, this is as rich as it gets. This is accuse your opponent of the crime you are committing. Every accusation is a confession, right? For Piers Morgan and Michael Knowles and Dave Rubin to be smugly chuckling about how Destiny and Wajahat Ali are the guilty ones of whataboutism. I refer again to what Destiny said at the beginning of this show. These folks want to talk about anything, even if that's the former president's prostate, literally. Then the ruinous hash that this authoritarian nightmare of a president is wreaking, impeached twice, convicted felon, found liable for sexual assault, and on and on. No, but he's this great guy that they insist are saving the country. It's absolute bizarro world. And that's the point. Look at the grin on Michael Knowles' face. Look at the grin on Dave Rubin's face. It's like, I can't get my head around how we found ourselves here. It's absolutely insane.
Hypocrisy.
All of this is a whataboutery. All of this is a whataboutery away from Donald Trump's presidency. Anything to discuss anything besides the multiple times he's referenced the Second Amendment, but besides the time he tweeted out the video of the tied up Joe Biden in the back of the truck.
It's a TV show, and they were doing a segment about what the former FBI
there's always an excuse. There's always a reason.
Best supporting whataboutery winner is you, Destiny. I want to talk quickly about a conspiracy theory, and you're going to like this, Wajahat, because this involves conspiracy theory about Jeffrey Epstein and whether he did take his own life or not. Incredibly, and you might be startled by this, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, two people you probably think lead the charge in conspiracy theory spreading, investigated this and announced the following.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get... I've seen the whole file.
So, Wajahat, there we have a wide-ranging conspiracy theory quashed by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, unequivocally. I presume you, as a man who abhors conspiracy theories, unless you're spreading them about assassination attempts, you would like to immediately applaud them for clearing this up.
All I got to say is good luck, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, because never go full conspiracy theorist. This is going to be MAGA eating its own tail. You know the people are really pissed off, Piers? Not me. MAGA. Because MAGA wants the public records of the Epstein files. They were promised it. And now Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who promoted the conspiracy about the deep state, right, and pro-January 6th, now they are the deep state, head of the FBI and the deputy. And guess what? MAGA is pissed off. And the reason why, probably, they don't want to release these records is Jeffrey Epstein, according to his own words, you've heard the tapes, he said, who was his closest friend? Donald Trump. Who did he party with? Donald Trump. Who's on the flight logs?
Oh my God,
Donald
you're
Trump.
about to
There's
spread the worst conspiracy theory of them all. Wow.
What? No, they're friends. You heard,
wow. Wajahat, are you suggesting Donald Trump killed Jeffrey Epstein? Is that what you're doing, having announced you hate conspiracy theories?
You said that.
Is that your position?
No, I think he killed himself. I think Dan and Kash Patel are actually honest. I think he killed himself. But MAGA's pissed off right now because MAGA was promised full release of the public files. Pam Bondi hasn't done it. Kash Patel hasn't done it. Dan Bongino hasn't done it. If you're paying attention to MAGA right now, they're divided right now, and they're going after Dan and Kash, and this is going to be a huge problem for MAGA. Not for the rest of us, not for the normies.
Hold on, I thought I was
the normies. I wouldn't be quite so hasty with that self-description.
I thought we're representative of MAGA. Can we get in on this?
Yes.
I'm not going after Dan and Kash. I don't know Kash personally. I know Dan pretty well, and I trust Dan. I don't think Dan would lie. You got to pay attention not only to what Dan and Kash said, but what they didn't say. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein's suicide was all on the up and up. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have connections to intelligence agencies. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't permitted to kill himself. The fact that you had malfunctions of multiple security cameras and multiple guards not showing up, they didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't, as Alan Dershowitz suggested the other day, pay the guards off to allow him to kill himself. There's still all sorts of questions about it. There's very legitimate questions, unless you, Wajahat, think that the Jeffrey Epstein case was just open and shut and there's no reason to dig any deeper. Obviously, there are very legitimate questions about it. But what Dan and Kash said can be true, and there can still be much more to learn about the corruption that involves very, very high levels of government.
Well, the biggest conspiracy theory, which I think happens to be true, is that there were clearly a lot of very high-profile people who knew what Jeffrey Epstein was up to and have never been held to account. And it is completely ridiculous that the only person languishing in a prison in America for any connection to do with Epstein is Ghislaine Maxwell, his madame, who helped him facilitate a lot of this abuse and is quite rightly serving a very long prison sentence. But no man has ever, who was participating with him, has ever been brought to justice. I mean, that is ridiculous. I want to ask you, Destiny, about something that's just been dropping, which is about Bruce Springsteen told a UK crowd that Donald Trump was unfit and treasonous. Trump responded in his normal, calm, self-effacing manner, called him a dried-out prune of a rocker on Truth Social. Highly overrated, Bruce Springsteen. Not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk. And then he posted this video. And my question, Destiny, is can you watch that with a straight face? And it appears you can. Did you not find that even vaguely funny?
Every time I see a picture of the 9% body fat, 180-pound, rippling muscled Trump, because of the very real medical report we saw that assesses physical condition, I'm in awe of him. I do agree with what Bruce Springsteen said, though. And I think the courts are basically reaffirming this, that Donald Trump is doing everything he can to destroy rule of law in this country. And that's why we are so desperate to talk about literally anything else, even if that's the prostate of the former president, than what Trump's current behavior.
I've got a question for you, just to see whether your own health and whether your own Trump derangement syndrome is at an advanced aggressive stage. And it's this. Do you give Trump any credit for reducing the number of illegal people coming over the southern border by 96% in 3 months? Yes or no?
It's a strange question.
Not really. It's a very simple.
It kind of is.
It's a very simple, factual question.
If you had cancer of the brain and I cut your head off, would you give me credit for getting rid of the cancer? I mean, wow. I guess. I mean, illegal immigration is definitely... You don't think it's an achievement? Illegal immigration has definitely decreased. All of our tourism has decreased. If part of the reason why the immigration or illegal immigration has decreased is because nobody wants to come to this country anymore because they can see it's turning into a massive shit show. I mean, does he get credit for that? I guess, sure.
Piers, can I defend it?
Yes, you can.
I think it has to do with the foreign terrorist
listen, as a...
I don't think even, to be honest with you, Dave, it doesn't even have to be defended. Obviously,
it doesn't have to be defended.
Obviously, it's a stunning achievement, which everybody should say is a great achievement.
I'm a laminated card-carrying member of MAGA. I go to the meetings with Knowles. He brings the cigars. I bring the tequila. We talk about these people. Look, I can easily defend
Just like
the
the
border.
average
I can
American
easily
with those
defend the trade
cigars,
deals.
right?
I can easily defend what he's doing in the Middle East. I can easily defend what he's doing with Russia, Ukraine. I can easily defend what he's doing as it relates
Dave,
to getting wokeness out of the schools and blowing apart the Department of Education.
If Piers wants to host a debate on that, I will gladly talk to you about any one of these topics, Dave. All of these
Can
are
you defend this, Dave Rubin?
The entire world market is shuddering.
Dave
the
Rubin.
bonds market is shuddering as a result of these things. Nobody agrees.
Well, actually, the stock market is actually
the
stock market's actually doing fine. Now everyone's calmed down and stopped shaking and screaming. It's actually fine.
All the losses were
Dave Rubin, quick question though. The really big
to be clear, the markets are not fine, but go ahead.
Well, they are. Dave Rubin, straightforward question. The most contentious thing of all, is the boss, Bruce Springsteen, overrated?
Yes, he's overrated. First off, I'm a Long Island guy, so you go to Billy Joel as the default. But any day, you know who I will take over Bruce Springsteen any day? About a month ago, I had the honor of interviewing 90-year-old Frankie Valli, and that guy is still out there performing.
Yeah, but his voice is gone.
He's doing it every night on the road.
Yeah, but his voice is gone. The boss, I mean, come on, Wajahat, can we find common ground? I think Bruce Springsteen's fantastic. I don't agree with his view about Trump, but I don't think Trump's right to call him overrated.
Great.
Go to a Journey
Bruce
concert.
Springsteen, look at his catalog. Fantastic catalog. You could disagree with his politics, but how can you knock an American icon, Bruce Springsteen? And show me that you're out of touch without telling me, and I'll show you Dave Rubin. He'll go for Frankie Valli instead of Bruce Springsteen. But all right, that's how you win over the kids.
They were great.
Yes.
Jersey Boys is one of the all-time great movies too.
That means you're out of touch because Frank Sinatra is old and dead. Yeah, that's really terrible if you listen to him.
Yeah,
Frankie
Valli, total legend. But Michael Knowles, the boss, overrated?
I love Thunder Road, okay? It's a great song, and I love Atlantic City, even though I think the band did a better version than Bruce Springsteen did. So, look, I like the boss. I think he's pretty good. I also agree he's a little bit overrated. People try to make him into Bob Dylan. He's not really Bob Dylan, and he does kind of look like a dried-up prune. So I think what Trump said is true, although I still love my Jersey Shore bops.
Okay, Destiny, can we find any common ground here? Is the boss overrated?
Listen, I grew up listening to Linkin Park and Third Eye Blind and these other bands, okay? So it's out of my generation, unfortunately. I have no strong opinion here.
Here, Piers, in the spirit of bringing us together, I want to send Wajid a gift after the show. I don't know have his mailing address, but I just wrote "You tried" and I signed it on a piece of paper here. So can you guys just get this to his people? Would that be possible? Because he tried real hard today, and that's important.
Did you write it, or was it in Russian? Do it in Russian for me. It'll be more authentic.
Still trying. I'll even sign it again.
Comrade Rubles. Do it in Russian, and I'll believe you.
But one of the most infuriating things to me about Piers Morgan is that he prides himself as a journalist. I'm not saying he's a great journalist, but he thinks he is. And, he's recently had a change of heart about what's going on in Gaza. And I think it's more than a day late and many, many dollars short. But, he was on recently talking about this, I don't think I can defend this anymore. And so you say, okay, well, there's an active mind there that's at least capable of changing its position. Michael Knowles is a demon. And, Dave Rubin is just a grifter. He's just a shill. Say what you like about Destiny and Wajahat Ali is they come on here. I don't know if they're actually doing any good because I don't know if these people are listening to them. It's clearly not a debate. It's not an open-minded thing. It's like a dunk fest. And basically Michael Knowles and Piers Morgan and Dave Rubin in a context like this are doing one thing and one thing only, which is the sane washing. They're just trying to make it all seem like normal operations, like, the liberals are all in a tizzy again about nothing and Trump derangement syndrome. And things couldn't get too much more dire, folks. The suspension of habeas corpus, this big, beautiful bill has got legal stuff buried in it that is a sort of a trap door for the administration to not be accountable for their actions legally. It's bad. And, I almost feel bad doing a video like this, except I really think you have to look it in the eye and you have to, take stock of the tactics here. Anyway, I've been talking for a long time. Let me know what you think in the comments.